Hello everyone, this is Lucy05 and welcome to the Cobra Central Toy Review. And today so I will be looking at the 1990 release by Hasbro of the G.I. Joe Velcro and action figure review. And today's Velcro and action figure review will be looking at the Cobra Hammerhead and its driver, the Decimator. Now I got this straight from eBay, and this entire set here cost me $90. That's not including the box and the instruction manual. Everything you see here is complete. And why is it so expensive for the Cobra Hammerhead? Because majority of the sellers who sell the Cobra Hammerhead tend to have missing parts. There's a lot of small parts for the Cobra Hammerhead. And the worst thing is the Decimator figure. Most sellers tend to sell the Hammerhead without the figure itself, plus the fact that the figure also comes with two accessories, and two of the accessories, especially the helmet and the Speargun, is also quite rare. So most sellers will tend to sell a Hammerhead which is, well, lacking some missiles, some torpedoes, some other parts. They may include the figure without the full accessory, or even everything is complete except for the file card. It's quite difficult to find the Hammerhead in one complete form. Furthermore, this was released in 1990, and it was during the time G.I. Joe, for all the toys itself that was produced by Hasbro, during that time, 1990s, they didn't actually manufacture a lot of the figures and the Velcro sets itself. They actually limited down their manufacturing, quantity for the vehicles and figures, not unlike the 80s period where they churned out massive amount where everyone would actually has at least one Night Raven. The Cobra Hammerhead here is among the quite rare vehicles. It's quite difficult to find it in a complete form. That's why it costs so much to get this in a complete form without even counting the box and the instruction manual. And if you want to get it in the mint and box, that would at least cost you more than $500 there. So it's quite intimidating in size itself, which is really worth it for $90. As you can see the sheer size of it. Now without further ado, let's start off our review on the Decimator figure first. Be right back. And we're back, and this time we'll take a look at the Decimator. But first things first, let's take a look at the file card. Now you can actually find the file card at the back portion of the packaging box itself. As you can see, there's the cutout line at the edge of the file card itself, indicating where you cut out the file card. Now let's bring up close a little bit. Top section there, code name Decimator, Cobra Hammerhead driver. Here you got a nicer image of the Decimator himself. Now, here is stated, Cobra Island is surrounded by open beaches which are, at the very least, hostile environments for tanks of any sort. The Hammerhead was specifically developed to function in shallow coastal waters, sand and scrub vegetation, sacrificing heavy armor protection for speed and agility, which is not really a good thing considering the size of the vehicle. The Hammerhead requires a driver with lightning-fast reflexes and exceptional peripheral vision. Now at the bottom, someone quoted, the wide-angle image intensifier unit built into the Decimator's helmet offers him a 180 degrees view in almost complete darkness. The image he sees is compressed in the same manner used for widescreen movie titles when they are shown on TV. In essence, he can keep the target in front of him at all times and get a perfectly clear shot at it without even turning his head. This is extremely advantageous when fighting a speeding vehicle on a flat beach, which is not bad, the design of the helmet. Now at the back portion is just part of the packaging box itself. I'm gonna move that one side. Let's take a look at the Decimator's accessories. Now to get the figure in a complete form, these two items is one of the most rarest parts there. First we have the Speargun, which is made of a grey plastic material color with no paint job at all. And the mold for this entire Speargun is totally unique only to the Decimator, which is very nice. Now you got the handle there, you got a small little trigger, and you got 3 Spearguns loaded up. Very nice. But the top section is all flat out, but the bottom section there's a bit of details there, and the figure can hold it quite well. Nothing that special, but rather rare piece there. Next we take a look at another rare piece, which is his helmet. Now the helmet is made of a dull white plastic material color, and there is a bit of paint job. Painted on each side of the helmet is painted in dark gray, and the visor itself, the so-called peripheral vision there that allows him to view 180 degrees view, is painted in a neon green paint job, although the paint job is a little bit faded off there. Now the design of the helmet is also very unique only to the Decimator figure. No, none of the other figures actually reuse this part, and also one of the, well, more rarer helmets there for the Decimator figure. There's a little bit of details there on the side of the helmet, and you got a large visor there that looks like a little bit like a hammerhead. You know, the face of the hammerhead itself, it's actually not bad. And that's all the accessory there is for the Decimator. Let's take a look at the figure's paint job. Now bear in mind, this is a 1990 release figure, so of course some of the paint job is neglected as usual, even for the current figures. Now the head itself is made of a, well, bright yellow plastic material color, but the flesh tone there is painted, so that's the eyebrows, painted in black, and also the eyes itself, very nice. Torso here is made of a dark gray plastic material color, but there's a bit of paint job there on just below the neck, painted in yellow, though it's a little bit faded off. And there's the, I'll assume, medals there, or ranking, painted a little bit of white. Upper bicep is not painted at all, made of a dark gray plastic material color. Elbow joints is also made of a dark gray plastic material color, except for the, well, padding for the bottom section of the wrist there is painted in the white. Now at the waist area now, made of a dark green plastic material color, but the belt is painted in the white. Thigh section is also made of a dark green plastic material color. Again, the tubings there is painted in the white. And for the boots itself, is also made of a dark green plastic material color, but as you can see, the paddings there is painted in the white. And that's about it with the paint job for the Decimator. Quite simple and quite interesting in colors. We have dark gray, yellow, and then dark green. Though the colors is not that bad with the yellow, because considering that the figure is wearing a helmet most of the time, so it's still alright. Now for the figure's mold here, when it was first released in 1990, all the figures part are all unique part. None of the parts is actually reused from the previous figures, and even after 1990, none of this figure's body part were reused for other future figures, which is very, very interesting actually, making the Decimator one of the, well, unique characters, just like the Cobra bug driver, the Sector Viper. Very nice. So here we have the head sculpt here, and each side of the head here you get to see a little bit shape of an ear. You got a little bit of details on the face there, details on the face mask as well, a couple of lines there, very nice. He has this collar going on. He's wearing this jacket. For a submarine driver, he's wearing a jacket. There are 3 buttons on this side. It overlaps on this section here for the jacket. Got a bit of medal there, or ranking. You see the collar goes all the way on this section here. Very nicely done with the details. I'll let the camera focus a little bit. There you go. Upper bicep there, there's a bit more wrinkly. Bottom section of the lower arms there, the forearm, well, padding there, is quite simple in design. His belt there is a large tubing. There's the belt buckle with the leather hinge there for Hammerhead. Very nice. And you got at the back portion of his butt, 1990 Hasbro, made in China. The thigh section there we have the tubings as well, and the lower legs you have the paddings. Now, the figure's design, I really like the torso. The rest of the body looks rather bland looking actually. Rather bland looking. I really like the head sculpt, but then again, he'll be wearing his helmet, so the helmet design is still alright. So let's take a look at the figure's articulation. The head can swivel left and right, very limited. Can pivot straight or all the way down this far. Torso here is made of an O-ring joint. The O-ring rubber band that attach onto the torso and to the crotch area, so you can only turn left and right, back and down or side to side, but you cannot twist this entire torso 360 degrees, otherwise you'll snap the O-ring. Shoulder joints here can turn 360 degrees and lift the arms this high. Elbow joints here can bend this far and turn 360 degrees. No wrist joint, of course. Then we have the hip joints here that move forward straight to the sides. A single joint knee joint there that bends only this far. Now let's fully equip the Decimator with all the accessories. First with the helmet, as you can see that, nicely done. With the helmet it looks much more unique in design, though the rest of the body seemed to look a little bit bland, unlike the Sector Viper of course, but still very nice. And there you have it, the Decimator is fully equipped. The one problem with this figure is that it doesn't actually stand very well. It tends to fall backwards quite often, but still it's quite alright. If I'm gonna give a rating for the Decimator, I say it's actually not bad, though not as detailed as the previous figures that were released before 1990s. Still not bad looking figure, and one of the more rarer figures out there. I'll give it a nice 7 out of 10. Yes, 7 out of 10 for the Decimator. Next up, let's take a look at the Hammerhead. Be right back. And we're back, and this time we'll take a look at the Cobra Hammerhead. Now first things first, let's take a look at the size of it. This entire vehicle is immensely huge and long, as you can see there. And let's do a size comparison with the Decimator driver. I have to just put him there, and you can see the sheer size of it. Rather huge vehicle, way more longer and way more bigger compared to the Cobra Bug. Now what I really like about this is that the entire vehicle's mold is designed to shape like a hammerhead shark, especially in the front portion of the vehicle itself. As you can see here, it looks like the head of the hammerhead itself. You got a nice sticker labels on each side of the eyes there, very nice. And on the side of the eyes there's the small little machine gun. At the bottom section of the vehicle itself here, we have a large sticker label of the jaws, no pun intended, of the hammerhead shark. As you can see, there's two large fangs there and a lot of smaller fangs at the back. Very nice. I really love the sticker design for the hammerhead shark. Very nicely done. Now front portion of the vehicle here, we have, as you can see, cannons. Dual barrel cannons for each side here, and each one of them made of a dark green plastic material color. And also you will notice there's also machine guns on top of the cannons itself. There are total of 8. 4 machine guns here, 4 machine guns here, and 2 barrel cannons for each side. And they are articulated, they can pivot all the way up this high. There's a lot of firepower from the front here. Not bad, but it doesn't swivel side to side, it just go up and down. And there's a little bit of details on this section here. Here we have the cockpit for the Decimator pilot to sit in. Well, either one of them. The other one is a side driver or a navigational control guy. And you will notice the cockpit hatch here is made of a clear neon green translucent plastic. Very nice. Now, to open it is quite difficult sometimes, but you can see, move this one side first. You can open up the cockpit all the way up this high, and you can see the seating inside for the vehicle. Very nice, very simple, There's a hole underneath there to place in the links, and you can place the figure in there. There's not a lot of details at the driver's seat. There's no mold of a control systems or anything. It's just pure flat out, which is a little bit disappointing, because some of the other parts have quite a nice little details there, except for the driver's seat. I'm not too sure why they neglect that, because they didn't actually neglect the rest of the parts, they actually neglect this part, so it's rather disappointing on that. Now the entire body is made of a dark grey plastic material color, laden with a lot of sticker labels, as you can see here on this section. Sticker labels here. There's the Cobra logo in black with a hammerhead shark. Very nice. In red colors. Very nicely done. As you can see the sheer size of it. And this is the back portion of the vehicle with no details at all, just pure flat out. You have the back fin here. Very nice. This section here, you can actually connect another missile launcher there. Originally they only came with 2, but the box packaging actually shows there's another one placed on the back portion of the fin here, but the actual toy itself doesn't come with another missile launcher, or I could be mistaken. It's quite hard to find more info on the hammerhead shark here, but you can actually plug this missile launcher onto this section here. Now the hammerhead vehicle actually has 6 wheels, six very large black plastic material colored wheels here. Very large wheels, solid plastic, as you can see, and they all roll pretty well. And they're all supported at the bottom, as you can see that everything is falling apart. Let me plug it in properly first. As you can see at the bottom, this is how it is supported for the wheels itself. So you have to be extra careful when you want to own a hammerhead for your own collection, because this part here and this piece here is rather fragile piece. And at the bottom section of the vehicle, there's not a lot of details, just pure flat out. Now the whole entire gimmick for the hammerhead is that if you play the StarCraft game by Blizzard, of course, and if you play the original StarCraft game, especially by selecting the Protoss aliens, and they actually can build this carrier ship, and if you remember the carrier ship, it actually launches a lot of small little fighter planes. Now think of the hammerhead as this underwater version of the air carrier. It actually, the whole gimmick is that it launches small submarines and sleds to attack the enemies, like the G.I. Joes. So basically, on this section here, we have 2 black sleds connected on to this entire piece here. It's a very simple connection, and all you have to do is just plug it in like so, and there you have it. You're done. Now the whole entire body is made of a black plastic material color, as you can see there. There's a clip-on made of a neon green plastic material color. Even the back fins is also made of a neon green, plus the two torpedoes found underneath there. The back portion of the propeller made of a dark green, or more towards to dark green, a little bit bluish plastic material color for the propeller at the back here. Now you will notice the design of the sled here has quite a number of details. First off, we have 2 small machine guns found on each side of the fin. Again, the design of the fin, the entire shape from the front portion of the sled itself looks like a small little hammerhead. Very nice. Here we have 2 handles for the figure to hold onto, despite that the handles is extremely short. Here we place the figure, and you can place the figure's leg into the small little hole there. At least the feet there. Here is the figure clip-on, and I'm not too sure why they bother with that, because by putting in the clip-on, you don't get to see the detail of the sticker labels here. There's a small little radar screen there, or sonar screen, sorry. Very nice. And yes, this fin here is articulated, it goes up and down, and the propeller here can actually turn 360 degrees. Again, with the torpedoes, it is detachable. As you can see the design of the torpedo there. Not too sure why they opted for neon green plastic, but then again, it was during 1990s, so bright colors tend to, well, according to Hasbro's ideas and logic, bright colors tend to attract, well, young kids. And there you have it, neon green there. Nice little design of the torpedo with smaller fins there. The top section of the torpedo, there's a little bit of details, and the back portion of the torpedo we have the propellers. Very nice. All the torpedoes found on this vehicle is the same design. So we just plug in this. As you can see, the way you plug the sled onto this section here, you notice this torpedo is meant to slip into this slot section. So all you have to do is just plug it in like so. It fits in quite well. Let's see here. It takes some time to, well, get used to plugging in properly, but there you go. On the other side of the vehicle is the same with the sled. Smaller sticker label found on the corner here as well. Now, for the larger detachable submarine, you have this piece here. By removing this piece, as you can see, this is what it looks like. We'll have the submarine covering it. It's just pure flat out with a little bit of paneling and a large fin on the side here. For the bigger submarine, the entire body is made of a white plastic material color, as you can see here, armed with 4 similar torpedoes found on the sled. 2 on each side here, 2 on the other side. At the back portion we have the fins and the propeller, made of the same plastic material color as the propeller found on the smaller sled, and the back cone and the nose cone made of a same plastic material color as from the propeller itself. You also have fins on each side. There's a molding of a smaller torpedo found on each side of the vehicle. Another fin at the bottom. Very nice. Here we have the missile launcher, or a torpedo launcher, but it's actually a missile launcher. Now this entire piece here can be detached. There's a large peg here. You can actually remove this piece and plug it at the back portion of the fin. So by plugging it in like so, you can turn this 360 degrees and can pivot up or all the way down like so. And yes, the spring-loaded mechanism actually do fire like so. Very nice. And this is how the missile look like, with 3 fins. At the bottom there's also a peg slot, so you can actually plug it onto any part of the vehicle itself. Very nice. Now the hatch itself is actually made the same color as and material as the hatch from the vehicle itself, made of a clear translucent neon green colored hatch. You can open it up like so. First I have to turn this one side. Now to open this up is a little bit tricky. It tends to have some little bit of hindrance on the plastic itself, as you can see now. So it doesn't really open up well. You have to wiggle around with it so you don't actually damage the plastic, but this is as much as you can open. Now inside the cockpit itself we have a nice seating here, made of a dark green, a little bit bluish colored seating. A lot of control panels on the side. So that's on this section here. Now you can place a figure in here to sit in comfortably. Now here's a problem. Now I have to close this. I have to wiggle it just to make sure I don't damage this part of the hatch itself. Now to connect it to the vehicle itself, you plug it in on the side fins from the front and at the back like so. You can see there's a little bit of a shape here to match on the back portion shape here. So all you have to do is just plug it in like so. It doesn't peg in, it just slot into the Velcro. Then we have a smaller, or at least bigger than the sled itself, but another submarine found on top of the Velcro, and you can detach this entire piece like so. Now this entire piece here, the body is made of a black plastic material color, and you get to see there's a lot of nice details here. The back portion, we have the propellers, very nice. Actually there's no propellers, the propeller is found inside, which they don't actually put the propellers, it's more like an engine there. And again, from the front portion of the Velcro, it's shaped like a hammerhead shark with two eyes there on the side, as you can see. Now this smaller submarine don't come as much weapons compared to the sled and the larger submarine here. It only comes with 2 torpedoes, because this Velcro is more of a recon Velcro because of this smaller radar dish found on the top with the antenna on the top. As you can see, it can swivel 360 degrees. Now the most problematic about this piece here is that the most rarer parts is the antenna. This antenna piece is one of the rarer parts, so if you want to buy a Hammerhead Velcro, you have to make sure this piece is not broken or missing, or the entire radar dish at all. Now there's a little bit of details on the top. On the bottom, nothing much, it's all flat out. This piece here is meant to connect on this top section piece. The entire cockpit here, this entire hatch here, is also made of the same plastic material color as the rest of the covers, as you can see that. So we open up this piece like so. You can see there's a small little Cobra logo for the Hammerhead sticker label found here. The seating is also made of the same plastic material color as the seatings for the small submarine there and the guns. As you can see that there's a lot of nice details for this small little craft. As you can see, there's a lot of control panels and tubings. Very nicely done. Very nice. Keypad. More keypads. Very nicely done. So if they could actually put details, a lot of details onto this small little craft here, and even the sled and the other submarine here, why can't they put more details on the driver's seat? It's just beyond me. Now I'm going to put that one side to show you is the Hammerhead's other weapons. This piece here, you can actually lift it up, but it doesn't stay up, so you have to pull out the missiles found strapped next to it. It doesn't really stay up at all. There's no way for it to stay up. As you can see, it doesn't lock onto anything at all, which is rather disappointing. It's quite frustrating to have this thing, well, posed properly. And there you have it. Now it's on top. I have to, well, move it on one side there to make sure that it doesn't drop. It comes with 4 missiles, as you can see there, and yes, the missiles is removable. This is the Hammerhead's other defense mechanism for launching, well, missiles to go up against well, aircrafts. Yes, put it one side here. Now the final item to be found is this section here. There's a sticker label stating secure cover. This entire door here, or hatch here, is well with black plastic material color. This is a decompression chamber, and when you think about submarine, you think about Cobra Bug. It has a nice little decompression chamber. You can actually place 3 figures inside, 2 sitting inside and 1 manning the turret. This one you would thought, well, maybe you could put more figures because due to the sheer size of the Hammerhead itself. At last, it's rather disappointing actually. You slide open the decompression chamber, and there you have it. There's 2 more missiles which I actually store inside there. And you can see this is the decompression chamber. It's not even in a square shape or a cube shape at all. It's in a, well, on the sides of the walls itself, it has this a little bit of an angle going on. There's a bit of details. There's the door itself with a small little lock, actually a large wheel lock. There's some control panels there on each side as well. On this section there's a small little door with a wheel lock as well, and that's about it. You can only place 1 figure or maybe 2 if you want to crap it up, but nothing really, you can't really place more figures in there, so it's rather disappointing with this decompression chamber. You can do it very well for the Cobra Bug, but you can't do the same for the Cobra Hammerhead. You got a little bit of RAM on the bottom section, which is very nice, though with the sheer size of it, you expect the decompression chamber to be much larger, because look at the size of the body. You cannot make more room. I mean, you only use this portion for the decompression chamber. You can't make more room for the back. You can even make more room for this section as well. You basically can't make more room to it, but they instead use the smaller section for the decompression chamber, which is, you can only place in 2 figures. As a, well, if you can imagine, for kids, when they see this huge vehicle, they imagine, wow, this is going to be a nice play set to play around with, because it's huge. Maybe it will be just like the Cobra Bug. You can place a lot of figures. Yes, you can place a lot of figures. 2 figures for the vehicle itself, 1 figure on the top. That's total 3. Then you add 2 more figures for the smaller submarines here, or the larger submarines. That's 5. And then there's the small sleds here. That's total of 7 figures. And if you want to place more figures, you have to put 2 into the decompression chamber, and that's a total of 9 figures. But for such a sheer size of the vehicle, you will expect that you can put more than 9 figures there. So yes, that's about it with the Cobra Hammerhead. It's very colorful, really bright neon green in colors, I have to admit that. I like the design of the vehicle. The design is very nice. I really like the whole hammerhead motif there. The sticker labels is also very, very cool, especially on the shark team sticker labels there, and the Cobra logo with the hammerhead logo there. And I really like the concept of a submarine tank that launches mini subs to attack the G.I. Joes, considering that it does pack in a lot of firepower. 2 torpedoes for the sled here. There's a total of 4 with, well, 2 machine guns for each. There's also a total of 4. There's also cannons on the front with machine guns in the front. There's also 2 more torpedoes on the top there. Missiles, 4 missiles found just underneath the small little submarine. Total of 8 if you combine 2 of the larger submarines of the torpedoes, and missiles, total of 2, not counting the ones, well, stored inside the vehicle itself. This vehicle packs in a lot of firepower, but playability wise, it's a little bit disappointing compared to the Cobra Bug. It's a little bit disappointing, but I really like it anyway. Now let's place in the Decimator into the driver's seat there. Here we have the Decimator figure. Fold in the legs. Now, what's really annoying for the design for the driver's seat is that it's a little bit cramped. As you can see there, there's the Decimator inside. The seating here is okay, it's just the hatch itself is a little bit short, so it's a little bit cramped when you place in a figure inside. Now, you must be wondering, does this vehicle float on water? Sadly, no, it does not float on water, because due to the amount of holes and seams and screws found under the vehicle or the side of the vehicle, it will just sink. The entire vehicle just sink. So it's a little bit disappointing to find that such a huge vehicle with, well, with lesser playability compared to the Cobra Bug, and it doesn't float. Of course, the Cobra Bug doesn't float, but it has more playability. But still, I really like the concept of it, and it has a lot of weapons. This is one thing I really like. I like the design of the Hammerhead. I like the amount of weapons they have, and it can store a lot of figures, despite that they can actually design to store more, but they didn't. Now, another question comes to your mind is that, does it fit your 25th anniversary or 30th anniversary figures? Well, why don't we find out? Be right back. And we're back, and this time the Hammerhead has been outfitted with the 25th anniversary and the Rise of Cobra figures, as you can see here. The driver's seat here, sitting comfortably with two lamprey figures. Of course, by sitting, they are more likely standing. You have to straighten up the legs in order to fit in the figure all the way in, and at least you're able to close the hatch. For the Rise of Cobra eel, sitting onto the sled itself, both sides of the sleds also equipped with the eels, as you can see there. Here, for the larger submarine, this one is a little bit tricky, because due to the compact size of the cockpit, you need a very slim figure without large holsters on the thighs itself, and you cannot have the figure be equipped with a backpack, and you have to place the figure in sort of like a sitting position, though it doesn't look very comfortable because you can't stretch your legs all the way straight, but it still sits alright, as you can see there. It's a little bit tight, but as long as you can find something like a Cobra Diver or any other slim figures, they can sit in quite nice. And here on the top section of the vehicle itself, the smaller submarine here is been seated with the Rise of Cobra Aqua Viper. Very nice. And finally, at the Decompression Chamber here, the sad news about this is that for the newer figures, you can only place in one inside because it's rather tight. And there you have it for the Cobra Hammerhead shark here, the Cobra Hammerhead vehicle, which looks like a hammerhead shark. It is a very, very intimidating size. I really like it, with a lot of firepower, and it fits in with your new figures, no problem. Very nicely done, though the pricing is rather expensive just to get this in a complete form. Unless you're a completist, of course. It's way more expensive compared to the Cobra Bug, actually, because it's quite rare to find this with everything complete and no broken pieces or anything. And if you want to buy one incomplete, I suggest don't, because it depends on which part is not complete, because finding parts for it in eBay is quite difficult as well. So if I'm going to give a rating for this vehicle, I'll give it a nice 8 out of 10. Yes, 8 out of 10 for the Cobra Hammerhead, because if you compare this to the Cobra Bug still has a lot more playability. Despite the colors is neon yellow, neon green, dark green, and dull red, it has more playability wise. This one, despite everything is neon green, well, most of everything, and it does look like a huge hammerhead shark. It does look very cool, it looks very nice, has a lot of armaments, but playability wise it's one step below compared to the Cobra Bug. So 8 out of 10 for the Cobra Hammerhead. And I thank you all for watching. This is Lucy05, and I'm signing off.